Now to talk about road rage is Dr. Jim O'Day, a clinical psychologist with Hartford Healthcare. Doctor, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So how does road rage develop? What makes people so angry that they want to hurt somebody else?
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for bringing this topic up. It's such a tragedy here in the state of Connecticut that this happened. It saddens all of us. You know, it's a result actually probably of not one thing. And that's one of the things we have to emphasize is that this doesn't come out of the blue. This happens when people are revved up. They're probably in a rush. They've got other stressors and circumstances going on in their life. It's a collection of a lot of things that come together that result in a presentation that can be so dangerous and really impactful and obviously tragic in a circumstance like this. There's absolutely things we can do about it.
So what always perplexes me, generally, I would say that face-to-face people are kind, right, when you meet people. But on the road, much like online, it can feel like people are rude, they're ruder, you know, or downright mean, and in this case, dangerous. So why is that?
Yeah, well, what happens is when you're in a motor vehicle, it's a very self-centered experience. And so you begin to objectify these people that are in the other vehicle. They're not somebody's mom, they're not somebody's brother, they're not somebody's grandmother. There's a person that is getting in the way of your objective, and you begin to not think of them as a person that actually has needs and wants just like you. And when you depersonalize that person, then the other issues that you are dealing with, your frustrations, your anger, those kind of things begin to get projected onto those other people. And so when we think of these not as people, but as cars and vehicles, that's what gets in the way of people thinking of them as somebody just like them, that they're at a shared resource in a community trying to get wherever they're trying to go.
So, of course, most of us want to avoid angry and violent confrontations out on the road. So what are the first signs we should look for that might indicate some other driver may be getting wound up? What should we do about it?
Yeah, I think our instincts are pretty good on this, Brett. I actually think when we see people on the road that are behaving in a certain way, we know enough to say that's probably a vehicle I need to avoid. I need to stay away from that car. They're driving erratically, they're changing lanes quickly. We really need to be attentive to making sure that we don't find ourselves in situations that we have to react to quickly. Because what happens is when everybody's adrenaline gets up really high, we begin to think with that sort of lizard part of our brain, and the prefrontal cortex, problem solving, reality testing, maturity, impulse control, that goes away. And when that happens, we're really dealing with these kind of primitive impulses. We really need to make sure that when you get in a motor vehicle, you recognize that this is a lethal weapon, and we have responsibility to each other to care for each other on the roadway.
You know, speaking of that responsibility, another thing I wanted to ask you about that people don't think about it very much is we need to be aware of how our actions might be perceived by other drivers as well.
Yeah, I think it comes back to just a basic level of consideration, is to think a little bit about this is a shared resource. We're all using it together. And if we play by a common set of rules, that can be really helpful. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you're getting a little amped up, really simple things like 4 seconds of deep breathing, hold that breath for 4 seconds, exhale that breath for 4 seconds. These really very easy to do deep breathing exercises allow you to concentrate, get your blood pressure down, make sure you don't react in a dangerous way to other people.
All right, Dr. Jim O'Day from Hartford Healthcare. We appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, a lot of good information there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.